Hey again everyone, it's Zach, as usual here to break down the progress of our indie game traits and trials. If you're not up to date, consider checking out the other episodes before or after this one. Today we're discussing one of the major parts of the game, exploration. This will make up a fair chunk of each playthrough as you spend your time weighing up which path to choose on each floor. But first, as usual, I'll interrupt myself to discuss a different aspect of the game, the UI. It's a small part of the discussion, so hang on. The UI, for those not aware, is the user interface, the visual way the players see all the information they need, like HP, mana and stamina. Among a lot of other things, we decided to make these bars into more thematically appropriate things to fit into the explorer's pack of the player, so they're potions. A red health potion, a green stamina potion and a blue mana potion respectively. The amount of potion in the bottle will go up and down as you use attacks, take damage or recover. Another part of the UI is the screen transition. A nice, simple way to change the screen from one to another. Since mirrors are a large narrative focus in the game, I used mirror shards fixing together as the transition. While mostly being our way of making the game naturally swap with what the player sees, it can also be used as a way for the game to mask loading screens. So, back to exploration. Your general interface with your character is through the lower half of the screen in the path options. Here you'll click on which path you want to travel down. But why have split paths? What do they add? Well, a couple of things. The main one being a choice of challenge. You can't see where normal enemies or special encounters are, but what you can see on the map is shops, oases and elites. All things we haven't discussed at all so far, and I may make an episode on them in future, but to quickly summarise, shops are fairly simple, spend money from fights to get goodies. Oases are your downtime that lets you recover and improve. Special events are small narrative choices where you must choose what decision the adventurer makes based on what happens. In turn, your decisions result in something happening to you, either good or bad. Lastly, elites are mini-bosses with not so many rewards. All of these things, bar the special events, will be visible on the map, and that'll mean you can choose what direction you want to go down for the best stuff. Maybe one direction has the shop for the oases, and you want to offload some of your useless bags upon bags of precious metals. Or maybe there's one path with a series of goodies down it, but they're all guarded by an elite and you're not very good in the health department, so you have to choose the boring, if less dangerous path. Or maybe you've gone through an early path with the shop and oases and noticed that there's a short connecting path that leads to the other lane's goodies, with two elites in a row, so you need to balance your greed against your survival. But that's not all. Your walks between different major encounters on the map are also useful. During your walk, your character can relax a bit, gradually recovering a bit of health, mana and stamina. This means that sometimes you may want to take a long road compared to a short one, to make up for all the energy you spent in your last soiree in combat. Glancing to the upper half of the screen will show the visual aspect of exploration, the pilgrim wandering through a current environment, just taking it all in. Dennis is programmed to call looping environment that randomly generates foreground and background elements to ensure the game's backdrop is just fresh enough each time to not get tiresome after multiple playthroughs. Some elements look special and so a wade is less likely to appear than others. We've also designed an asset for every special thing you encounter on your stroll, including enemies that will stand in your way for random combats. The parallaxing is quite pretty too, making the jungle cabin really look grand instead of claustrophobic and cramped. Fun fact, those spires way in the distance in the fungal jungle environment are meant to be proto-taxites, a prehistoric fungi that stood tall at a whopping 8 meters tall and 3 foot wide. I read about them 5 minutes before drawing the environment and took it as a sign from the heavens that the fungal jungle needed these capless spire mushrooms. Tangents aside, this episode's kind of been a bit shorter than most, but rest assured the work we're doing over the next episode or two is big enough to make up for this bite-sized info dump. So we'll see you in a week or so for another very special episode. Before I sign off, I'd like to thank our 2 lovely patrons again, so a special thanks to Corval and of course my mum. Thanks mum. See the rest of you later.